so we're talking about point-slope formula today. Alright, so that's going to be our third formula we learned for this chapter. Our objective is to write and graph linear equations using point-slope form. Point-slope formula is the equation of a non-vertical line that passes through a coordinate point at x sub 1, y sub 1 with a slope of m. The formula is y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times the difference of x and x sub 1. What we have to understand is that m is the slope, x sub 1 and y sub 1, they represent a specific coordinate point that we're focusing on. And x and y can represent any other coordinate point as long as it's on the line. So writing an equation in point-slope form, write the equation of a line with a slope of -3 that passes through the point of -1, 7. Alright, so we have y minus y sub 1 equals m times the difference of x and x sub 1. That's point-slope formula. We're going to substitute the values of -1, 7 in for the coordinates of x sub 1 and y sub 1. So we substitute 7 in for y sub 1 and -1 in for x sub 1. So we get y minus 7 equals -3 times the quantity of x minus x sub 1. This x minus x sub 1, remember, minus a negative is really plus a positive. So now that becomes y minus 7 equals -3 times the summation of x and 1. This is simplified into point-slope form. But they asked for the equation of a line. That means they want us to put it in slope-intercept form. So we're going to distribute the -3 to each of these terms. Keep going. And y minus 7 equals -3x minus 3. And then we can add 7 to each side. And y equals -3x plus. That is the equation of this line. Point slope is beneficial. You use it when you have a coordinate point and the slope. You can quickly take that point and slope and simplify into slope-intercept form if need be. You can also graph using point-slope formula. If you have y minus 5 equals 1/2 times the quantity of x minus 2, you can recognize that you have a coordinate point of 2, 5, and a slope of 1/2. So if we were to graph from the origin going to the right 2 and up 5, 2, 5, we could then apply the slope to that coordinate point and graph our line, going up 1 and to the right 2. Or we could do the complete opposite, going down 1 and to the left 2. And there's the graph of our line. The trick is when you see a formula of point-slope form, to determine the coordinate is the opposite of whatever sign is in front of it. So if we see this -2 and this +2 here, the coordinate is really -2, +2. Because this is y minus y sub 1. So y sub 1 must be +2. And this equals the slope, and then the slope times x minus x sub 1. So for us to get a +2 here, this must have really been x minus -2, because x minus -2 is really x plus positive. Then our slope is -2/3, and if we plot our coordinate point at -2, 2, and apply the slope of -2/3, which means go down 2 to the right 3, down 2 to the right 3, we have our graph of our line, and of course we draw our arrow. The last type of problem you may see is where we give you the two coordinate points, like 1, 4, and -2, 3. And I ask you to write it in slope-intercept form or point-slope form. The first thing we do is you use our slope formula, which is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. We can label our coordinate points. This is x sub 1, y sub 1 because of the first x of y. This is x sub 2, y sub 2 because of the second x sub 1. So we would get -3 minus 4 over -2 minus 1. -3 minus 4 is -7. -2 minus 1 is -3. And that would simplify to be 7/3. So the slope is 7 over 3. If we want to write this in point-slope form, we have two possible answers. We have the slope of 7/3, and we can use the coordinate point of 1, 4. Or -2, -3. It doesn't matter which one we choose. So we have y minus 4 equals 7/3 times x minus 1. And that's if I use 1 comma 4 as my coordinate point. The other possible answer is to have y plus 3, because it would be minus negative 3, which is really plus 3, equals 7/3 times the quantity of x plus 2, because it would be minus negative 2. Now, it doesn't matter which one of these you use. If you do the math correctly, you can simplify these into slope-intercept form. So I will distribute the 7/3 to both sides. I'll get y plus 3 equals 7/3 x plus, and then I have to multiply 7/3 times 2. So 7/3 times 2, well, I want this to be over 3, so it's 6/3. That's another way to express 2. And we get 42, we can reduce, sorry, 1, 2. We would get 14/3. Now we subtract 3 from each side here. We're going to get y equals 7/3 x. And we just have to do 14/3 minus 3. Another way to express 3 is 9/3. Common denominators, right? I guess we didn't have to do that when it's multiplying, sorry. And we get 5/3 positive. So that's if you ask for your answer in slope-intercept, but they really ask for it in point slope. So you could stop right here, and those would be your answers.